Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Mariam Lemo. I'm just starting, as I promised, my live video, so I will just hold on for a moment as more people hop on, so we can have a conversation and pick up from where we left off yesterday. So I am being told to hold on. Okay, here we go, the first viewer. Hajna, it's so good to have you join me. Thank you so much. I'm doing Facebook once again and Insta because I think I can kill two birds with one stone by doing this. So alhamdulillah, it's so wonderful to have technology today because it gives us such an opportunity to reach people all over the world without leaving our homes. So that's amazing. And all the blessings that have come from the coronavirus, as difficult as it is to find the silver lining, I think it has forced us to become much closer to our families, of course, and know what's really going on in our homes. But at the same time, it's forced us to be creative in finding alternative ways to do what we normally do, whether it's our businesses. People are being very creative, coming up with unique things. And most importantly, people are being so generous. It's overwhelming to see the kindness that's coming out of so many people and the thoughts and prayers that are going out to the healthcare workers who are trying to help and save lives and reduce the spread of the pandemic. So may Allah bless them all. May Allah bless you all for your prayers, because I know those prayers have not gone unanswered. So alhamdulillah, but most importantly, alhamdulillah to me for today, for the privilege of being able to talk to you, for the opportunity to share the little I know, little I have learned. I've always said I'm a student, not a scholar, and so my experiences are what I share with people, and alhamdulillah, many have been able to connect and relate and say, oh, I thought I was the only one going through this. So alhamdulillah is all I can start this beautiful day with. It's a lovely morning. It was very cool, quite early, and the breeze was so wonderful, and I just love celebrating the little pleasures that we have been given, and to find the good in spite of all the chaos that's going on. So I'm bibble babbling because I'm hoping more people will come on board. Today I'm talking about a very sensitive topic. After mentioning this yesterday, the issue to do with sexual satisfaction, it caused a big uproar. My inbox was just overloaded with so many people saying, hey, please talk about this, talk about that. And that's what I want to talk about today, sexual satisfaction, issues to do with intimacy. So I want to give more people an opportunity to come on board so that they don't miss out on this very important topic, because it's affecting more people, but because they consider the topic taboo, you don't find enough people talking about this. People aren't sharing their knowledge, their personal experiences and tips, so that people can learn and improve on this particular area that is such an important aspect of marriage, the relationship, intimacy, and so on. So alhamdulillah. Let me see, I see so many people waving. Thank you so much. Muhammad Adil, thank you for joining me on Facebook. Bashir Abba, thank you. And let's see on Insta. We've got Abdullah Isuku. Yep, wherever you are from, may Allah bless you. Thank you for joining me. Nabila Muazu, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you all. So, as I mentioned, today I'm going to be talking about intimacy in marriage, sexual satisfaction, because of the fact that so many people sent me messages yesterday that, yes, sexual dissatisfaction is very common in relationships, and some people specifically had things to say. Let me share the first one. A gentleman wrote to me and said that his wife is no longer tight as she was when he married her. And he's no longer finding pleasure, finding satisfaction when it comes to intimacy. So after mentioning several things, I asked him a few questions. And the first one, which is often the cause, I asked if she had had any children. And he said, yes, she had. They had 3 children. And I asked, was it after the kids that this problem started? And he said, yes, it was. Now, this is very, very common. I would say a lot of mothers would relate, and husbands would relate, that it's after the kids came, the wife is no longer tight down there, and they are no longer getting the kind of pleasure pleasure they had when they first got married. This issue does come up because when you picture a child coming out of that place that's so tiny but then has to expand for a big head to come through, the muscles spread, stretch, they expand. And just like when we gain weight, you think about your whole body, it expands, the skin expands, and then you decide to go to the gym. Then you start to exercise and things start to get tight again. The good thing and the good news is the fact that that place is a muscle and you can get it to be tight again. So my sisters, if you are watching, this is a tip. Many already know this. I'm not sharing new information. However, I believe a lot of you may be able to benefit from this. There is this Kegel exercise. So like I said, just as you go to a gym to do weightlifting and you start to develop muscles, abs, six packs and so on, down there you've got muscles that only need to be exercised and you can get it back to where it's supposed to be. The most common, simplest, with no cost whatsoever is to do the Kegel exercise. So go on YouTube. Go on Google and just type in Kegle, Kegel exercise. I promise you, if you do that consistently, and the best part, nobody knows you're doing it. But it's a muscle tension exercise that gradually brings you back to where you're supposed to be, and most likely even more if you do it consistently, regularly. I know some people who, when they've done it, the feedback their spouse has given them is like, they feel tighter than when they even got married. So I hope that helps. That's the first one. So this issue to do with it's no longer tight down there. Another lady wrote to me and said this issue to do with erectile dysfunction, that her husband cannot keep an erection. It's like she has tried to ask him to see a doctor and he's like, no way am I going to embarrass myself. It's humiliating and it's natural for someone to feel that way. However, intimacy in relationship, it's a two-way thing. Both spouses need to be equally satisfied. And if your spouse is complaining, if your spouse is having an issue that they are not satisfied, you do want to prevent the risk for temptation. Yesterday I talked about having, cheating on your spouse or having affairs and so on, infidelity, and not giving your spouse reasons. Obviously, number one, it's the reason to do with God that one would not do it. You would pray this as a God-fearing person. However, if your needs are not being satisfied, the risk becomes extremely high for your spouse to start thinking of alternatives. Some may choose to go into things like masturbation, but I'm going to go into that also very soon. However, you don't want them to be tempted to go beyond that and commit zina. So swallow the ego and speak to a professional. Doctors, professionals who have studied this, who can give you advice on this, they know about discretion. This is not something they're going to go and tell someone. If you're not comfortable seeing your regular doctor because you know them so well, the familiarity, go to, when you travel next to another state, go and see a doctor there. Make sure they are true professionals, because there are drugs that you can give someone and lifestyle change, including diet, that someone can do that will help them, achieve this and also be able to sustain. Another thing that came up was the fact that the women were complaining that their husbands normally within a minute or two have already ejaculated, and unfortunately that's it. It's over. He crashes right afterwards. And of course, again, this is so common. Most men, based on studies, have shown that within 2 minutes, men are able to just ejaculate and that's it. For others, they're able to sustain it much longer. And then there are techniques as well that one can implement to be able to go on much longer, so that your wife has an opportunity to also achieve climax. One of the ways that I know is withdrawal. So in other words, you're inside your wife and then you can feel that you are close to climaxing and you withdraw. So normally it's called coitus interruptus. And I'm not talking here about, preventing having a child. I'm not talking about family planning. Please don't get me wrong. In this context, I'm talking about sexual intimacy and sexual satisfaction. So when you sense it, you can withdraw so that sensation calms down a bit, then you continue. And the woman as well, if you go online, you can do more research on how you can help him not climax quickly. And then for some, they choose to use the rubber, the condom, because it reduces the sensation. However, some people would rather not do such a thing, and so what I would say is learn the technique. And for the man to go online and do research, go on YouTube, go on Google. Alhamdulillah for Sheikh Google out there, because it has become a lifesaver for many of us to be able to find solutions from professionals and others who can share their best practices. So that is the advice I give with regard to sustaining. So see a doctor if you have erectile dysfunction. There are pills out there. I don't want to mention any, some are kind of like iffy or controversial, but the doctors would know what is the best, that has been researched enough, that don't have the kind of side effects that some may normally have. I've also talked about the issue. Okay, next is some women have been complaining bitterly about the fact that when their spouse comes to be intimate with them, they are not moist, they are not lubricated, and it hurts. Sex is not supposed to be painful. Intimacy is supposed to be a thing of pleasure, not pain, and that their spouse is not patient enough to wait for them to actually get lubricated. There's a shortcut. I will give you an expo. Many are using it today. There are lubricants that you can buy in any pharmacy. One example I can give of a product I know is reputable is KY jelly. KY jelly. So you go to a pharmacy and just ask for KY jelly. Your spouse will now put that on themselves, or you put it in yourself, and you find it makes it so smooth. But be careful with the quantity you use, because if you put too much, then there's no sensation for him, and you want to make sure intimacy is something that is absolutely pleasurable. So I've mentioned the issue to do with lubricants, and there are other things available. Just, again, go to Google and check it out. For those who are just joining us, thank you so much. May Allah bless you. It's such a pleasure to have you all on board. You are escorting me on this journey. It's new terrain for me, and I love new learning. I love going into uncharted territories, and not being able to leave home and go give lectures has forced me to learn technology, which I've always been afraid of. So, alhamdulillah, today we're talking about sexual satisfaction, because the talk I gave yesterday, I got an overwhelming number of messages in my inbox talking about lack of sexual satisfaction in the relationship, and how both men and women want me to talk, based on the little I know, about issues to do with the spouse, erectile dysfunction, the wife is no longer tight down there, what can she do? If you're just joining us, please, after the video, you can play it back and you'll hear the tips I've shared, so that I don't pull people back. Another thing that came up is, of course, the fact that the reality today, many of us are addicted to our phones, to social media, and unfortunately, as you go deeper and deeper, some things come flashing in your face that are not appropriate, and not, they are haram when it comes to what you see, because there's zina of the eyes, what you look at. And I'm talking here about pornography. It has become so commonplace amongst both men and women. Sincerely, men and women are looking at pornography more and more today. It again goes back to that lack of sexual satisfaction. When your spouse is not able to fulfill your fantasies, satisfy you in the bedroom, so that you don't have a desire to go out there or find somebody who will bring your fantasies to life. So a lot of people go into pornography, and then they find themselves sexually aroused, and they end up masturbating. So this is something that I know a lady in particular mentioned, that her husband got addicted to pornography and would go in the bathroom, and she can actually hear him jerking off, and then he is no longer interested in being intimate with her. So this issue is one that I want to touch upon. And for us as Muslims, of course, pornography is haram. Looking at others in their bedroom is none of our business. I believe when I look at maybe various sexual positions, I look at books that are educational books, so that during my lectures, I can share whatever little I have learned. But actually watching for pornography is actually haram. So that is number one. And again, it's between you and your God. How will you reconcile that? That's something you need to be very conscious of. Sorry, before I get distracted, sometimes these messages come so quickly and go off. I see something improving on the aspect of marriage. Kegel exercises. This is Ibrahim Ahmed. Kegel exercises also work for men as well. If they practice regularly, it prolongs erection. Excellent. Thank you so much for that feedback, and gives more confidence to the man and satisfaction to the woman. May Allah bless you. What a beautiful addition you have given me. Thank you. I learn every day, and I actually didn't know that. So jazakumullahu khairan. So again, I'm talking about pornography here. And like I said, first it's the religious angle. It's haram. But when it leads you to start seeing things that realistically your wife cannot satisfy that, cannot do that. Those stunts, these are actors, these are professionals. The way you rehearse before you act, that's the same way these guys rehearse before they go in front of the camera. So be conscious of the fact that what you are seeing is actually something that has had take 1, take 2, take 10, take 20. It's not as it seems. It's not as smooth. It's not as fluid as it seems. So that's number 2, right? The first is religious perspective. The second is what you are seeing that is now creating this fantasy that makes you keep going down and down that road, that deep path to trouble, is not truly as it seems. It's been doctored, it's been touched up, it's been retaken over to get the finished product. So when you now want your wife to do all these stunts and she can't do them, unfortunately, you don't have take 1, take 2. And there's a lot of clumsiness when you try to reenact what you have seen. So be very conscious of that. Be real. Be very real that this is often not the reality. It doesn't mean that a woman or a man cannot learn various ways of satisfying their spouse. It's not saying in any way that a woman cannot learn stunts, let me put it that way, and creative ways to satisfy her husband. And like I often say, do not allow boredom to set in. Don't keep sexual intimacy in the bedroom alone. Of course, don't do it in a house filled with people. I'm begging you, be very conscious, be very safe, but be creative. Find variety, be spontaneous. Find a place that you have total privacy. Sometimes it's just the two of you in the car. You can start doing some things to make it exciting, make it different. So that is by touching your spouse, or you find a safe place you can park where nobody is going to come and see you, and you do various things to make sure you inject variety into it. Then you also need to know as the man that she needs you also to play your role in being creative. So don't be stuck on particular styles, particular positions, and of course don't keep it just to the bedroom. Try and be very creative. Even the bathroom, take a shower together and who knows what's going to happen. Be very, very creative in that. Don't let boredom set in, because monotony leads to boredom, and boredom leads to trouble. So be very, very creative and be patient with your spouse. It is not something that they have probably learned before they got married to you. So if you're newlyweds, learn together, teach each other. And that's where communication is so important, that you talk about this regularly during the intimacy. Try and find ways of asking your spouse if they are enjoying what you're doing, because sometimes they are not. Sometimes they are uncomfortable. And like I mentioned, some people are actually in pain and they associate sex with pain. So be very, very conscious of this. Be considerate, be kind, but talk about this. Those things you find in these sites that you go into, that's not real life. I'm not saying people have not mastered the art of satisfying and creativity in the bedroom. They have. That's why it's your responsibility to teach each other, explore, find ways of making sure you communicate about what you like and what you don't like, so that you can both fulfill each other's fantasies and desires and needs, even the basic one that you may have. So that's something that I would say is extremely important that I had to touch upon. So I've talked talked about erectile dysfunction, I've talked about pornography, and then masturbation. Both men and women are doing it. It's a reality, and often it comes from unfulfilled fantasies. So a lot who look at pornography, for instance, or women on TV, or even men, that's the reality of somebody they see that is dressed in a way that is enticing or sexually seductive, allows the mind to start going to work and creating certain fantasies, and then they go and release by masturbation. Now, one thing that studies have shown that persistent masturbation often leads to erectile dysfunction. That's number one. Number two, you're using, if it's for the men, you're using your hand, and you are the one creating the sensation. Real life, what God has given you with your spouse that is legal, is not that controlled. Though, as we've shared the Kegel exercise, it's going to help tremendously. However, the sensation is not the same. So the more you go down that deep tunnel of fitina, of watching pornography and start to masturbate, the less you will find your spouse is able to satisfy your needs. You do need to be extremely careful. My best advice for you as you find that, okay, maybe hopefully my prayers, this talk has helped you somehow, and you say, I want to stop it, but how do I get these images out of my mind? I ask you to put it in dua, pray. Distract yourself as soon as you feel the sensation coming or the thoughts going or the lure to see. If you have them in apps that you have locked in your phone, please, Allah, please, for the sake of Allah, delete them. Because this is not healthy for your relationship. Why are you married if you can't be satisfied by your own spouse that has been blessed? You know, you called God to witness this, so why won't you make that effort? Why find yourself in a state of not only sin, but no peace of mind? Because like real life is boring. That's basically what you end up making it. Real life is no longer pleasurable. So I ask you, please, if you're doing this, stop it and find alternatives, and make sure that between you and your spouse, you do so many things. Naturally, there's oral sex, and it's not haram, contrary to what some would say. Ask them to show you where in any book it said it's haram, and many other things. So I'm not going to go into the gory details, but I'm just giving you some suggestions that I hope will bring back that excitement when it comes to the department of the bedroom. I've talked about when a spouse comes quickly, when a spouse reaches climax too quickly and the wife is like left hanging. Studies have shown that within 2 minutes, a man can have an ejaculation, or even one. Some women have actually told me it's less. However, for a woman, the same studies are showing about 6 to 8 minutes, but I promise you, based on what I've heard from so many women, some it could take 20 minutes, some up to an hour. Some said, somebody actually said to me, I felt like I was trying to lay an egg. And then for some, they've never, ever reached climax. Their spouse has just never figured out how to help them achieve climax. Like, I don't know, Mariam, what you're talking about when you describe this sensation. And I'm like, wow. So it's so important for couples jointly to make sure they help their spouse and accommodate their spouse, because women are different. When women are making love, the sad thing is there's so much going on in their minds. They're thinking about the children. They're thinking about maybe a messy house. They're thinking about what people are going to eat. So much. For men, it's really purely physical. Of course, there are men who love the, shishi fufu stuff that goes with it, but generally it's like it's a physical act. Whereas I describe this, that men make love physically, women make love emotionally. So there was an example that my brother gave me of a friend of his in Malaysia who, when they had finished eating, my brother was going to take the plates to the kitchen, and his friend, the host, said, no, leave it. And he couldn't understand, like, why. So later when he went to wash his hand and he saw his friend in the kitchen, he asked him, like, why did you stop me from taking the plates? He said, oh, because that's foreplay. And I love that. because for the woman, her husband assisting her, being helpful, were part of the things that made her love him so much, and it's like a deposit towards that intimacy that they would get. So I thought that was a perfect example that, one understands with women, there's a lot going on in the mind, far more than what it is with the men, because for men it's often more physical. So be sensitive, be conscious, understand that it starts from the moment you wake up, be conscious of how you speak. Sometimes you have a fight and then you find that your spouse wants to make love to you at night and you're like, we haven't resolved our issues and you want to touch me. We haven't solved these problems. This is a big problem, and often men do not connect the two, that you've got to deal with the baggage. You have to offload the baggage before you find your spouse is willing. Otherwise, they're just having sex. They're not making love. And making love is what couples are meant to do in legitimate marriage, legitimate relationships. So please be sensitive about that. Men need to be more patient in trying to help their spouse climax by waiting longer before they climax, because it's much harder. And for some, what they have done is they know that, okay, their spouse is going to climax very quickly, so she goes ahead and allows that to happen. Then they wait some time, knowing that since he ejaculated not long ago, it'll take him longer to recharge, so to speak. So then they go ahead and have it maybe like an hour or two later, and this time, of course, he will have more staying power and be able to help her achieve climax. So I think I have touched on the points I wanted to discuss today. Waiting to see if there are additional comments, but I do really appreciate that contribution for the gentleman on Facebook. For those of you who joined us late, we're on Facebook and Instagram live at the same time, trying to kill two birds with one stone. This is my administrator, Khalil, who gave me this tip, like just do it simultaneously, and I love that. So let me see. Here's one, very sensitive and extremely educational topic that we can't run away from. Absolutely. It seems like it's a taboo topic, but it happens every day. I mean, this is marriage. This is real life. We need to talk about this so much more. We need to bring it up to the table, because some people are suffering in silence. Like I mentioned, this lady who was complaining that her husband just has sex with her. He doesn't care whether she's lubricated or not. Whereas there are humane alternatives by using lubricants to help her be moist so that at least she's not in pain, for God's sakes. That is not what intimacy is about. Somebody said they want to ask me a question. Javid, please go ahead and ask your question. Absolutely. So I think while Javid is asking his questions, and anybody else, please contribute, comment, share what you know. Let's talk about this issue. Let's bring it up to the table, because it's meant to be a thing of pleasure. People are supposed to enjoy this. And unfortunately, it's actually a cause of pain, a cause of shame, a cause of humiliation. Some women will make fun and mock their spouse if they are not able to sustain or have an erection. And this is such a tragedy. It is sad. It is wrong. It is so wrong. So I ask you to please be sensitive, because you are stripping this person of their manhood by doing that. I know a gentleman who once referred his wife to me because this is what she was doing. She was mocking him, and she just felt he wasn't able to help her have a child, and because he couldn't get an erection. And she laughed at him, she mocked him, she compared him to her previous lovers. It was that bad. And it's so shocking to hear someone is capable of doing such a thing. So I ask you to please be patient, be kind to each other, and talk about this. Talk regularly. I know this is something my husband taught me, because I was actually someone who was shy of discussing this, but my husband was so kind to, carry me along and help me understand this thing. And then, we both do our best to be creative. And I ask you, that's what it's all about. Like, you both have to put in, you both have to do the work, you both have to contribute when it comes to intimacy, and be creative in that. So I hope this helps. Not seeing any other comments. So may Allah grant you the ability to spruce up and spice up your marriage, especially in the bedroom. And may Allah continue to bless your unions. May Allah continue to improve the bond between you and your spouse. And may Allah grant you the ability to restrain and refrain from temptation, whether it's in the zina of what you see, in the zina of what you hear, and in the zina of what you touch, and in the zina of what you do physically. May Allah grant you that ability to exercise self-restraint, because the one that God has given you is the best gift Allah could give you. So learn to be content with what you have. Learn to do everything in your power to make sure that there's mutual satisfaction. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Stay safe. Have a wonderful day, and may Allah grant us the full blessings of this upcoming Ramadan. And inshallah, may we see many more to come. Jazakumullahu khairan. See you tomorrow, inshallah, at the same time. Assalamu alaikum.